What's up, everybody? I decided to do this video here focusing on Superman in films, of course, because we're about to see him on the big screen again. From the time of this recording, we're less than a week away from the Justice League movie finally making its way to the big screen. And I say finally because there have been some times before where people tried to get this together, they tried to make it happen, and it just didn't work out. I think the closest was probably with George Miller, the director of Mad Max Fury Road, and then, he's done other action movies, of course, along with that series. But yeah, this is finally happening. We're finally getting a Justice League movie, and of course, Superman, like I said, will make a return. Really don't know how much he will be in the movie. A lot of people are speculating, thinking that he'll probably have an appearance in the third act in just a few minutes. And I mean, from the trailer, actually, let me not say anything about the trailer in case some people have been avoiding it. Let me be careful about that. I will respect that. But yeah, since that's finally happening, I really want to talk about Superman in films and kind of clear up the way that I feel about certain interpretations of Superman, because every once in a while I'll make a little comment here and there, and I think it's not a big deal, but then I have strong reactions from people. So yeah, I just want to be clear about the way that I feel about how Superman has been represented on the big screen. So I do want to make just two quick side notes here before I get into the video. For one, I know that there are a lot of Smallville fans out there, and I know especially since Smallville is getting some attention again with just some up and coming things related to Smallville. I'll just say that. I don't want to get off topic, but yeah, I'm not going to focus on Superman on TV so much. I may reference Superman on television. I may reference Superman in the comic books. Well, I know I'm going to do that for sure. But the main focus here is Superman on film. So please keep that in mind. I'm not trying to dismiss these other interpretations, but I really want to mainly focus on Superman in films. Also, I got to stress this. I'm sharing opinions about a fictional character. So if you don't like something I say, that's cool. Express your own opinions, but please respect mine, and and I will respect yours. That's something I always feel is important on my channel. Respect my opinions. I will respect yours. Just let me know how you feel, but you don't have to put down the way that I feel, though. So let's be respectful of each other. Remember, it's a fictional character, so let's not take it too serious. Let's have some fun with it. And I do want to start off here with just a little bit of history. So for starters, in doing some research for this video, I learned something I did not know. So who I thought was the first Superman in live action is not really the first Superman in live action. He's the second. The first is this actor here, Kirk Alyn. And let me just read what I have here about him. It says Kirk Alyn was the first actor to play Superman in live action. He starred in the 1948 movie serial Superman and its 1950 sequel, Atom Man vs. Superman. He also had a cameo as Sam Lane, Lois Lane's father, in Superman the movie in 1978. So of course that's a cameo I did not catch because I didn't know about this actor being the first actor to play Superman, and he didn't have a speaking cameo either, not that I recall. So yeah, this was interesting for me to learn about, and of course because I have not seen his performance, I can't judge it. I just think this is a pretty interesting piece of history there. Now, the man that I thought was the first Superman, like I said, he's actually the second, is George Reeves. And it says here, George Reeves starred in Superman's first feature film, Superman and the Mole Man, which was made to promote the first television series, Adventures of Superman, which Reeves also starred in. So I've never seen the movies that he did, well, the movie that he did. I have seen just a little bit of the old series that he did, The Adventures of Superman, mainly clips. I don't think I ever actually watched a full episode. So I still, again, I can't really completely fairly judge his performance and that interpretation of the character. I'll just say from the little bit that I remember, I think he did do the character justice. I know that he had a great voice for the character, and I think he played both sides of the character well, Clark Kent and Superman. You could argue that there is a third side as well, Kal-El of Superman, but yeah, like I said, I'm not going to completely judge his performance because I just did not see enough of it. But again, sharing a piece of history with you all. So now I'm getting into what a lot of us are familiar with here. Christopher Reeve pops in a lot of people's mind when they think about Superman. So Christopher Reeve, he did star in Richard Donner's Superman in 1978. and of course he was in the sequel as well, which there were some issues between Richard Donner and the studio, so that's why there was more than one version of Superman, and actually still I think more than one version of Superman. So basically he had his direction he wanted to take it in, and the studio wanted to do something different, and that's why there ended up being some silliness in the theatrical cut of Superman 2. But then of course there were the other two follow-ups, Superman 3 with inexplicably Richard Pryor in it, and I love Richard Pryor, but still, Richard Pryor in a Superman movie, I have no idea what they were thinking there. And then Superman 4, which was just a complete disaster. I mean, it really was a complete disaster. And if you want to know how bad it is, I'm not even going to get all into it, but I know that Chris Stuckmann, YouTube movie reviewer, he did a really great breakdown of Superman 4. You know, that is really worth watching. In fact, I'll try to remember to link that video down below. But the first Superman movies, they were pretty successful, at least 1 and 2. But then 3 and 4, of course, the quality wasn't as great, so the box office wasn't as great. And then I do want to actually get into focusing on Christopher Reeve and his interpretation of the character. So for starters, I do want to focus on the positives, and it kind of goes without saying that this Superman was very selfless. Of course, he was very heroic and charismatic as well. I mean, Christopher Reeve, he pulled that off just amazingly, and I think he really did set a great standard for how Superman, you know, how charismatic he could be, how charming he could be. And then as Clark Kent, of course, he had that goofy side, but I felt like it was never annoying. It was never really overdone. Some people may feel like it was overplayed in some ways, but I liked it. You know, he was a likable character, whether he was Clark Kent or Superman. There were some brief moments of darkness, especially in part 3, when he was exposed to, I believe it was the black kryptonite, which had an effect on him. And there was that, I mean, looking back at it now, it seems kind of cheesy, but I still have nostalgia for it, where it's basically Clark Kent taking on like the dark Superman, and there was that amazing fight there in the junkyard. So I like that still, you know, even though it can seem a little bit cheesy, but I get what they were going for there. Also, this Superman, I felt like he did use his intelligence some, not always just strength and power, and that really allowed him to minimize collateral damage. He did actually think about what was going on around him, especially in part 2 when he was taking on Zod and Zod's henchmen. He really was paying attention to what was going on around him, trying to, like I said, minimize that collateral damage, excuse me. Now, as far as negatives are concerned, and yes, there are some negatives when it comes to Christopher Reeve's Superman, I think that at times he was noble to the point of being a caricature, and it was really annoying. I remember there was this one scene, and it might have been in part 4. As a matter of fact, I think it was, where he rescued some people on the subway, and then he assured them, you know, that the subway is safe, and, you know, this is a great way to take transportation through the city. And it just felt very cheesy. It felt like a commercial out of nowhere or something. I did not like that. And then there were some new illogical powers that were used at times. Yes, even within the Richard Donner film part 2, where and you can see it there in the upper right, where he took his symbol off. He didn't really take his symbol off. It was like a duplicate of it, though. Looked almost like a giant fruit roll-up, and he just knocked down Zod's henchmen, which was so weird. I mean, that moment just still weirds me out. Like, who in the world thought of that? And that's not the only example of him having some odd powers that are not true to the character, but I will address those later on. And one little nitpick I do have to make here is that I felt like they started off on the right foot. You know, we actually did get to see Krypton just a little bit there, and but I mean, beyond that, it just felt like there wasn't enough of him really wondering about where he came from. He just kind of felt like a human that just happened to have powers, which is not true to the character. I mean, he is essentially an alien. He's a Kryptonian, so that did bother me just a little bit. But like I said, I'm aware that that is a nitpick. And you see the quote that I have here from Superman. It says, "There is a right and a wrong in the universe, and the distinction is not hard to make." Some people like that quote. I think it is an absolutely wrong quote. Now, yes, there are some times when it can be somewhat clear between right and wrong, but I think in a lot of ways there is a lot of gray area, and you know, as a hero, that's where the challenge comes in. I mean, if everything was clearly right and wrong, that would make his job way too easy. So I don't really get why some people are so crazy about that quote. That quote kind of rubs me the wrong way. So I want to move on here, but I will of course address Christopher Reeve Superman again here in a moment. But moving on here, so we ended up with Superman Returns, which was released in 2006, and it had to star Brandon Routh, which you know, I'll talk about him in a moment here. This was directed by Bryan Singer. He actually left the X-Men franchise there for a little bit in order to do Superman Returns. I just got to go ahead and say he would have been better off sticking with X-Men 3, taking care of that movie instead of letting Brett Ratner take the reins on that one. Considering the budget of this movie, it wasn't a huge financial success. I mean, it did alright, but normally, I think for a movie to be considered successful in Hollywood, they want to make back 3 times their budget. And this movie did not do that. But the critical reception was mostly positive, which actually surprises me. And you'll see why as I get into some positives and negatives about this interpretation of the character. So with the positives, I mean, I really thought about this. I really did put some thought into it, but these are the only ones that really came to my mind. I did think there was, you know, this was a good look for the character. Brandon Routh was good casting. He played the role well. Well, with what he was given, I guess I would say that. Or I'll say at least he looked the part. Let me say that. He at least looked the part. And I think the suit worked overall. And then his powers, I feel like they were well represented. And that bullet hitting his eye, which you see there, that moment, it's somewhat corny, but I like it at the same time though. And it just, when the first time I saw that, I was like, wow, like that definitely displays how powerful Superman is and how invulnerable he can possibly be. Now, as far as negatives are concerned, and this is why I caught myself a moment ago, because Brandon Routh, yes, he definitely looked the part, but he was dull, and I think the movie overall was dull. And I'm not putting down the actor. I do want to be clear about that. I'm not putting down the actor. The problem is with the script of this movie. And I feel like also that Brandon Routh may have been too reminiscent of Christopher Reeve's Superman. At times it was almost eerie. It really did feel like there were these short moments where I felt like I was seeing Christopher Reeve as Superman again. And the movie overall maybe paid too much homage to Richard Donner's films. And I think that was a mistake. I think they really should have set their own course and had their own vision with it, instead of just trying to pay homage to you know, Richard Donner's films, which I think that's part of the reason why they had such a positive critical reception, is because of nostalgia. You know, I mean, that's really what it was. It was a lot about nostalgia, because when you really break this movie down, there's a lot that doesn't make sense. And then I say here next that I felt like Superman had unclear motives and illogical decisions. The movie starts off with him having disappeared for 5 years, which, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what's wrong with that right away. It's like, okay, how does Superman disappear and, you know, Clark Kent disappear, and then they both return at the same time, and nobody really says much about that? It's just very weird to me. I just didn't like the way that was handled. From the beginning, it was illogical. And then they had Lex Luthor create an island out of kryptonite. And for some reason, Lex Luthor, who's supposed to be highly intelligent, thought that he could actually own this land and use it as real estate. That makes absolutely no sense at all. And then to basically add illogical thinking to more illogical thinking, to have Superman, who was already injured, lift up an entire island made of kryptonite, again, makes absolutely no sense. And again, I know we're talking about fictional characters here and everything, but still, there should be an internal logic. So kryptonite is what it is. It weakens Superman. So for him to be able to lift that island really made no sense. I don't care about the aftermath of it. He should not have been able to do that. It should not have even made it into the script. So moving on to Man of Steel. Okay, so this was in 2013, really not that long ago. That's when Henry Cavill first starred as the Man of Steel, Superman, in Zack Snyder's version. Now, I do want to say this right up front. Zack Snyder, I really do feel like he's a visually interesting director. He knows how to create good visuals. Is he a great storyteller? Not by any means. So, but he did, you know, the Warner Brothers did keep him on board for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. And then he did do the majority of Justice League, you know, the Justice League movie before, you know, for personal reasons, he did have to step away, which is very understandable. Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, both of them did well in terms of box office, but both of them had mixed reviews, and I think it's pretty easy to see why, but of course I will break this down as well. So there are positives with Henry Cavill's version of Superman, even though some people really don't want to give him any credit, but I do think there are some positives. First of all, again, and this is something that's been pretty consistent with Superman, again, he looks the part, and I definitely like that he had a more modern suit that really worked well. You know, it just feels more of the time. Even yet, you know, it's still sort of a classic look overall with the cape and everything, but I think it just works better. And also, I do think that he feels more like a Kryptonian with a human upbringing. He feels like he's kind of trapped between two worlds, which makes a lot more sense to me. I hate to get into a negative, but I will say this, maybe almost too much to an extent that he feels a little bit confused there, because it's not as if he just got here. He was raised up here, but at least they do, you know, address that. And then I definitely like the fact that he actually trusts Lois. And I gotta say this real quick as well. Thank God that we have an intelligent Lois for the most part, other than some decisions that she made in Batman v Superman. And yes, I'm referring to a certain Spear. But at least we do have a Lois that was intelligent enough to figure out on her own that Clark Kent is Superman. I mean, an investigative journalist should be able to do that. So that is something that I do like about these movies. Now, as far as negatives, there are definitely some strong negatives about this current version of Superman. First of all, he lacks a sense of humor. You know, like I said with Christopher Reeve, he had that charm and that great smile, and Henry Cavill, it's like you could probably count on one hand how many times he actually smiles, and that's from both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. It's like he's just such a downer. It's like this emo Superman that it's not true to the character to me. And it's interesting that they, you know, they decided to make the S not really a S. It's supposed to be a symbol of hope, but he doesn't seem to have any. I mean, well, I won't say any, but definitely not enough hope though. It seems like he's always doubting himself, and it's no surprise why with the way that his parents have been written, because I mean, you think about some of the things his parents have said to him. You know, his father essentially saying that even if somebody has to die, you know, you protect your secret, and his mother essentially saying, you know, well, straight up saying you don't owe these people anything. That's so far removed from what I think Superman should be and what he should be hearing from his adoptive parents. I really don't like that. Also, I feel like this Superman is reckless and impulsive. You know, we saw that with the destruction at the end of Man of Steel, which I know they have, you know, they've tried to deal with it as best as they could, but it would have been nice if they put more thought into that to begin with. And it's not just the destruction at the end. I mean, even in Smallville really got tore up in that fight scene, and I did enjoy the fight scene, but it seems like Superman did very little to try to help the people of that town, except for that one little moment where he's walking down the street and he's like, get inside, lock your doors. It's like, what? That's not much help, Superman, especially when you have people that can knock down buildings pretty easily. Also, I gotta say this and be blunt about it. This was not a very intelligent Superman, or I should say, is not a very intelligent Superman. It really bothers me in that the Capitol building, I think it was the Capitol building, where he did not realize that he was standing a couple of feet away from a bomb. That's not any Superman that I'm familiar with, you know, so that really does bother me. And I mean, there's some other things as well, like you know, in Batman v Superman, he had so many opportunities to really speak to Batman and talk things through, but no, he decided to get into a fight with him, and he almost got killed for it. It's just so silly. I mean, Superman is supposed to be an intelligent character, and we're just not seeing that right now with this version of Superman. And then I know that Warner Brothers is trying to retroactively make him seem like more of a hero than he's been up to this point. But no, it's like we gotta see it. We need to really see him as a hero that wants to be a hero, not this angst-ridden downer of a Superman. Now, even though I just said a lot of negative things about this version of Superman, I do want to point out, though, I am aware that some people have been very unfair towards this Superman, and especially when people make comparisons between Christopher Reeve's Superman and Henry Cavill's Superman. And I want to let you know exactly what I mean by that. So, some people, you know, they feel like Christopher Reeve's Superman is just untouchable, and they have such nostalgia, such strong memories for him. But one thing I don't respect about that version of the character, and again, I'm talking about the character, not the actor. Okay, let's be clear about that. I don't like that that version of Superman had these easy outs for his problems. He spun around the earth to rewind back time. Be honest. I mean, really be honest here. Does anybody think that that would be acceptable in a Superman movie today? Just imagine how fans would tear a movie apart if they tried to pull off some nonsense like that, you know, in today's world. It would just not fly. And I don't believe in this nonsense on grading in a curve like, oh, that's an older movie and, you know, that's why it's okay. No. You know, I mean, I think if you're gonna make comparisons, judge them fairly, judge them evenly. Don't try to like say it's okay for one movie to have silliness but not the other. I don't really buy that. You know, if you're gonna compare them, then really do compare them. And then also the way that he erased Lois's memories, and really just the fact that he was trying so hard to hide his identity from her, I just that bothered me. He should have trusted her. I mean, that's something that women won't. I mean, people should have in a relationship is trust. So for him to fight so hard to hide his identity, I just didn't like that. And if anybody wants to use the excuse, well, you know, he was just trying to protect her. She was always in danger anyway. I mean, Lois was always falling off of something. So, you know, he might as well have just been open and honest with her from early on when she started to piece things together. And something else that really bothered me, and I mean, this was something that was in the news even. There were a lot of people that were so bothered by, in Man of Steel, Superman killing Zod. I don't understand why some people don't realize that Christopher Reeve's Superman also killed Zod. And he did so without even showing any remorse. At least Henry Cavill's Superman, you know, showed some remorse. He was upset about it. He didn't want to have to do this. He even said to Zod, don't make me do this. You know, but Zod let him know he was not going to stop. And by the way, if anybody is doubting that Christopher Reeve's Superman killed Zod, let's remember that in Superman 2, he basically reversed that whole chamber thing and he took away Zod's powers. So essentially Zod was like a human, no powers. And then he dropped them down an ice cavern. Now, I don't think you have to be a biologist or a doctor or anything like that to figure out that if you drop somebody that does not have powers down an ice cavern, they die. You know, so yeah, I think people should really be fair. If you're going to compare these versions of Superman, be fair about it at least. So I know I've said a lot of very, very strong opinions, and I'm sure some people are maybe frustrated and wondering, well, what is your idea of a perfect Superman? Even though I don't think there could be a perfect one, but still, you know, what's my ideal version of Superman? Well, I'll let you know, it's definitely not some perfect Boy Scout that can do no wrong. I mean, that obviously is not relatable. That doesn't work. At the same time, I don't think Superman has to be one extreme or the other. I don't want a Boy Scout. At the same time, I don't want some sappy, whiny, doubtful Superman either. Again, that does not work. So I want a character that's somewhere in the middle, and there actually is already a perfect, and I do mean I'll say as close to perfect as perfect can get version of Superman, and I feel that that is All-Star Superman. If you've ever read this comic or even seen the animated version, because I'll say with the animated movie, they included more from the comics than I thought they would have been able to, because the comics, there's a lot going on there. But yeah, they really did a pretty good job overall with the animated version. But I would say read the comics. You know, definitely read the comics if you can. But like I said, I think that's as close to perfection as Superman can get. And I'll let you know what I think is, you know, so great about All-Star Superman and why this should be what you know, filmmakers look at when they want to bring Superman to the big screen. So for one thing, I mean, he's powerful, but yet he is cautious. You know, like I said, that's something that's important about Superman, to look out for people around him, to consider the collateral damage. You know, so that is something that is very true of the Superman. And he is highly intelligent. I think this is the most highly intelligent version of Superman that I have ever seen. I mean, he really is a scientist. I love that aspect of him, because one of the things that he's actually doing within this movie is he's planning for the future. You see him thinking about what's going to need to be done and what needs to happen after he passes on, because he knows he's not going to live forever. So I really do like that he's actually thinking ahead. And like I said, you see him as a scientist, which is so cool in my opinion. Also, I like that he recognizes his limitations. Like I said again, you know, he's actually preparing for what is going to happen once he has passed on. And he has a great confrontation with Lex Luthor within this comic series. And the way he handles it in the end, he uses intelligence over brawn, because obviously we know with brawn anyway, with power, he could easily destroy Lex Luthor. But I love the fact that in the end, in the long run, he really uses intelligence. I love that. It was really great the way that was handled. And then also I say here that he honors his biological and adoptive parents. And what I mean by that is, of course, he respects the parents that raised him up here on Earth. But I feel like through his work, through the things that he does, he also honors his parent, because I mean, really, he's become a scientist, sort of like his biological father. And again, I like that scientist side of him, and just seeing him being intelligent, because as far as I know, the rays of the sun are supposed to affect all aspects of him, not just his power, not just his strength. So he actually is supposed to have some intelligence about him that is somewhat enhanced. But even if it's not enhanced, I still think he should be presented as a highly intelligent person, you know, or being, whatever you want to call it, Kryptonian even. But and then another thing I gotta say here is that he trusts in Lois, and I really do like and I'm trying my best not to ruin this for anybody that has not read it, but I'll just say there's some beautiful moments between him and Lois, and he gives her a pretty amazing gift within this series as well. So if you have not read All-Star Superman, check it out. If you would prefer to watch it, you know, watch the animated version. And if you're familiar with that, I think you'll see that maybe possibly you will see that this is what Superman really could be for us on the big screen as well. There are things that they can draw from this to give us a really great version of Superman. So I said a lot there. Yes, I know this is a long video, but I want to listen to your ideas as well. So please let me know in the comments what your ideal version of Superman is. And I also want to know, what do you want to see from the character in the future? You know, moving forward in the movies, what do you want to see happen? I will say this quickly. It seems like that they are setting up for an Injustice style storyline in which Superman may turn evil eventually, which I'm actually okay with that, but only if they give us more of Superman as an actual hero first. And I mean him really being a hero, not a montage of him doing a couple of heroic things, which even in those montages that they've done, especially, well, I'll say in Batman v Superman, even within the montage, when he's being heroic, he still looked miserable. You know, I don't want any more of that. Please show us Superman really being a hero, and then maybe I'll be more open to it and more ready for him eventually turning evil, if that does happen. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching, especially if you stuck with me all the way through. Like I said, I know I shared a lot in this video, a lot to digest there, but I do look forward to your responses. Just remember though, you know, I will respect your opinions. Please respect mine. Something I have never done on my channel is tell somebody that they're wrong for feeling the way that they feel. I may say, you know, my opinion, and it may differ from your opinion, but I'm never going to tell you that you're wrong for feeling the way that you do, because to me, I think that's hugely dismissive, and I just don't like that. I'm not that type of person. So yeah, just please keep that in mind, and let's all be respectful, and I look forward to your feedback. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you all again real soon.